Hello, and former NHL player, former NHL GM, Brian Lawton. He's got a lot of great insight on what's happening down in Florida. Obviously, Gallant relieved of his head coaching duties, but he's not the one that's struggling on the ice. It's the players, and so we thought we'd take a look at kind of Florida on the ice as a whole and where they stand right now. So when you look at the product they put on the ice, what is the biggest difference between the team last year that won the Atlantic Division and this year's team?
Well, that's a good idea, Jamie. Let's get back to away from the process of determination last night. Let's focus what the differences are on the ice, because this really is a restart for the Florida Panthers defensive group. They brought back most of the core guys up front, we know that. But on the back end, when you take a look here, Brian Campbell, Eric Gudbranson, Kulikov, Willie Mitchell should be included in that group. His presence was felt so much. Those guys are out in Demers, Yandel, Pissick, and I include Michael Matheson in that group. So you basically got 4 guys out, 4 guys in. It's a significant difference. Why? Because on the ice last year, the guys that were entrusted with the really hard miles, the heavy minutes, usually Gudbranson and Willie Mitchell. Those are the guys that you would see in the defensive zone, time in and time out when Mitchell was playing. And those are the guys that did the bulk of the heavy lifting. That afforded Aaron Ekblad in particular to get a lot of those offensive starts with Brian Campbell. Watch right here as you see Gudbranson and Mitchell. This is what they did. They logged their tough miles against the Crosbys, the Ovechkins, the elite players in the league. Keep in mind that Aaron Ekblad, only a 19-year-old at this stage, obviously 20 this year, obviously growing still, and those are big changes on the ice. This year, Ekblad, Matheson, they've had to take a lot of those assignments. It's been difficult on them. I think Aaron Ekblad is amazing, but I think he's still got a long way to go to be the finished product. He is still so young, and when I see a guy like him, it's like I can almost see it in his play that he realizes that this is a completely different ballgame, the matchups that he's getting. And we're watching some tape right here from last season of Aaron Ekblad. And that, to me, was exactly what you want to do with a young player at his stage. When I think of guys like Drew Doughty, other great players around the league, and I look back at their careers, they were being what's called protected by coaches. What does that mean? It means you get a lot of favorable starts. Not exactly the case this year, as we see Matheson and Ekblad. Now Ekblad is transitioning, playing some of those harder minutes, right? This is only against the third line. This isn't even against a top line. This is Tierney and Wingels right here. You can see scoring the goal. But it's a massive change for a young player. So now all of a sudden, Aaron Ekblad, -6, 5 points. Okay, we can see right here, his career starts by zone. There you have it. Everything has been turned upside down for him, but it's going to take a while for him to catch up with this transition. I think it's affected him more than anybody else on the team. I think it's going to be fine. The Florida Panthers are not all of a sudden going to be the worst team in the National Hockey League. As a matter of fact, I expect them, even though Gerard Gallant is a good coach, to get a bit of a bump with Tommy Rowe. I expect him to bring more structure, something that I think they could use. It's just a matter of him being able to hold the group accountable and to convince these guys he can make them better.
Well, it is an interesting dynamic because you think about it, and a GM is very much hands-off, at least from what I think as an outsider.
It's a cerebral job.
Yeah, but
99% of the guys in the game.
And you don't necessarily know the dynamics in the dressing room like a head coach would. So you've been a GM. Can you imagine going from that role to bench boss, head coach, dealing with the players day in and day out suddenly?
I have to tell you, there were at times you do think about that, depending on how your club's playing. So that's always in the back of your mind, but in today's world, it's not nearly as accepted. It used to happen all the time. We used to have a lot of coaches and GMs. You don't see that so much because the game's more complicated, particularly with the salary cap. I would never advise it. If I were advising an owner as an outside counsel to them, I would never want the GM and the coach to have both jobs. I think Florida's addressed that. I do think they'll play better. I think they have a great core of young players. Everything that went wrong last night was really about the process of terminating somebody, and that somebody being Gerard Gallant, and that process being incredibly difficult and incredibly personal. it just didn't come off well.
Right, lots to keep an eye on for the Panthers as they continue a very tough road trip that continues tomorrow night against the Chicago Blackhawks. Still